Friends, last week I released a video on determining sample size, and some students, including a student from JNU, asked me to make the second presentation on review of literature. Yeah, it's a very important issue, and time is changing fast, and fashions and fads in research are also changing. Norms of research are also changing, and you have to be careful at every step. Whatever you do, it must be justifiable, defensible, and it must relate to existing literature in the field. I realized the importance of review of literature when a few years back, uh, PhD thesis of one of my students went for examination abroad, and one of the comments from a foreign examiner was that the student had not mentioned the methodology of review of literature. A few years ago, one PhD student of mine from Industrial Management Department sent his thesis-based paper for publication in a good journal. We got good reviews, and the topic and conceptual framework and findings and data, everything was okay, accepted by the reviewers. We got good comments on them. But one of the reviewer asked, what was the methodology of review of literature? And he also said that unless the methodology of review of literature is discussed in the paper, and he is not going to accept the paper, or is not going to recommend the paper for publication. That paper has not been published because actually no systematic methodology was followed, and a student at this stage, after completing the PhD, was not in a position to describe the review of literature past, review of literature in a systematic manner. So I thought, yes, this is a very good thing, and maybe I can help the PhD students by presenting 4 slides on review of literature. They deal with the purpose of review of literature, how review of literature should be done, how literature review should be presented. There is no clear understanding of how literature review should be presented, and what is a bad literature. Okay. So let me share 4 slides of mine on these issues. And the first slide is about what is the purpose of literature review. Friends, the purpose of literature review is to familiarize yourself with the key concepts, methodologies, and theories in your field of study. Okay. You are not the first person to do research in a particular field. Before you, maybe for decades, many researchers, many scientists, many social scientists have worked on this or similar problems, and they have published their researches in important journals and sometimes in book form. The purpose of literature review is also to identify research gaps associated with your research problem. It is by reading the past researches that you come to know about what are the key concepts, what are theoretical frameworks. I know a tendency among sociology students that when we talk to them about mentioning theories in the thesis, they start thinking of classical theories, theory of Max Weber, Spencer, Karl Marx, and so on. No, theory does not mean grand theories of society only. Theory actually means what kind of theories have been used in studying this or similar problem in the past. So you identify those theories, You identify what variables, what concepts, what constructs were included, what was missing, how those concepts and constructs were related to each other, and what methodology and data were used to arrive at the findings, systematic findings in previous researches, and what are the research gaps, what more can be done, or what more needs to be done, or how can you add to existing literature. Unless you know about the existing literature, how can you know how to add to existing literature in a particular domain of research? Literature review is also used to develop the conceptual framework of the study and hypothesize various linkages in the conceptual model. Just for illustration, I'm giving you this simple example, that suppose you are interested in studying choice of local shop. We know that some people prefer local shops, some prefer malls, some prefer big shops in the city, some prefer brand names, and some just go to retail choices in their neighborhood because they give more importance to convenience. And the literature review may show that choice of local shop depends on income. This is so you have a model now, but this becomes a model for study only if there are controversial findings on this. While some studies suggest that there is a positive relationship between income and choice of local shop, which means that people belonging to upper income bracket or upper quantile prefer the local shop. Other studies show that there is a negative relationship and people belonging to lower income quantile choose to go to local shops. And there may be theoretical justification for both kinds of hypotheses. Now, since there is a controversy regarding the relationship between income and choice of local shop, it becomes a problem for research. Then you start looking for literature on what explains this controversy. This is a direct relationship, and your review of literature may also point out that when people talk of choice of local shop, they also talk of expenses in local shop. That makes the study more interesting. So now you have two dependent variables, choice of local shop and expenditure you may incur in the local shop. And you may also identify on the basis of review of literature. See, nothing is arbitrary. You are not adding any variable from your own side. You will have to justify all the variables, independent variables, dependent variables on the basis of literature. And that is why literature review is required. And the independent variables are income, car ownership, and age. So you may find some models, some researches in which two dependent variables were used and three independent variables were used, and the independent variables were all independent. There no relationship was hypothesized between these three independent variables. This was the literature. So this becomes your starting point. And then look for literature on each of these linkages. There are 6 linkages now, and you will have to justify making any linkage on the basis of literature. Nothing arbitrary. You may also find that in literature, people are talking of income and choice of local shop, but there is a moderating variable, car ownership. Here, car ownership is not an independent variable. The difference between model B and model C is that while in model B, car ownership is an independent variable, in model C, car is a moderating variable. What is moderating variable? Moderating variable means that the relationship between income and choice of local shop varies according to or differs from one group to another. There is a group of those who own a car, and there is a group of those who do not own a car. And the relationship between income and choice of local shop is not same in the two groups formed on the basis of car ownership. This is moderating. Moderating means that this moderating variable is not determined by your independent variable, is not affecting the choice of local shop directly, but it affects the nature of relationship between income and local choice of local shop. Since I have been teaching courses in demography, it's like this, that you are studying a relationship between income and fertility. Now, there may be positive relationship or negative relationship. It also depends on the context, and there are all kinds of theories. That is why, because there are all kinds of theories, because the issue is debatable, that's why it becomes a research problem. And literature may show that the relationship between income and fertility is there, but it is of one type in rural areas, another type in urban areas. And this another type may mean difference in the strength of relationship, and sometimes it may also mean difference in the direction of relationship. So it becomes a moderating, education becomes a moderating variable. Or on the basis of literature survey, you may say that yes, income affects choice of local shop, but that is because choice of local shop depends heavily on car ownership. And income being a determinant of car ownership, income may empirically be associated with choice of local shop, but actually there is no theoretical relationship between income and choice of local shop. Theoretical relationships are between income and car ownership and choice of local shop. This is mediating variable. So depending on literature, you develop a simple model or a complex model with two or more independent or dependent variables, or models with moderators or mediators, or a complex model consisting of various kinds of, or a large number of independent and dependent variables, moderators and mediators. Friends, each link in your conceptual framework is supported by literature. This is the purpose of literature review. You cannot develop a conceptual model without reading literature. For example, in model B, if there is no study done in the past which shows the relationship between income and choice of local shop, then this line showing the relationship between the two need not be made. Other things are okay. So that model will be less complex than this. Every link in the model, conceptual model, has to be justified on the basis of literature. Through arrows, you may also show whether the relationship is recursive or non-recursive, or symmetrical or asymmetrical. By this I mean whether independent variable, there is an independent variable which affects the dependent variable, or both variables affect each other. Or there is two variables go together, but it's not known whether one variable affect the other variable in what sense. For example, when you use factor analysis, you do not show directions of arrows, because sometimes your factors only mean that these factors are correlated with your variables or measurements, but whether you do not say whether factors determine the measurements or your variables, or your variables or measurements determine the factor. Only relationship without direction are shown. Now, the next point, which is the most important point, and I mentioned about this point because my students failed, and when I read PhD thesis, which I get from universities in India, including prestigious universities, I find that this is a weak link. And it is because of this reason that I said that a paper of one of my students in management department was rejected from publication. Otherwise, the paper was good, and later on, he made some changes and sent it for publication to other journals. The papers are finally published somewhere or the other. But you want to publish your paper in the best journal in your field. And therefore, you have to be careful about everything. Now, review of literature requires that you need to follow a methodology for literature review. It's not an arbitrary process. It's not just a collection of papers and books or archival material on the theme of your study. It's a systematic, objective, and you must follow a method. What is methodology? Now, I will give you one example of methodology, and I have seen in some of the recent papers published in different fields. I have reviewed papers in sociology, economics, health, management. Recently, I developed interest in telemedicine, and I am reading literature on that. So I find that one of the ways, objective, systematic methodology of identifying literature, which is mentioned in those papers, is that you identify papers based on papers, articles, books available on online databases. So you must familiarize yourself with online databases for relevant things. Then you must also familiarize yourself with online sources of abstracts, APSCOs, etc. Abstracts screened for identifying studies for further review. So you identify certain abstracts which are relevant for them, and then go to original articles which have been abstracted there and read the studies in detail. Literature cited, this is another very important source of um, literature, that when you read a research paper, then see that at the end of the paper, several research papers, books, references, bibliographies are given. All of those research papers and books may not be available to you, but try to get as many of them as possible and read them in original. So literature cited in reference sections of publications also becomes a source of identifying literature. I think it is in place of citing 100 references, it should be sufficient if you say that the 5 most important research papers published in this area during the last 10 years are these. And I have gone through all the original papers and books cited in the reference sections of those publications and use them as my literature. It makes more sense rather than just haphazardly collecting literature and making a conceptual framework and deciding about your methodology. And maybe some other relevant sources. You can visit library. This other relevant and online databases include Zotero, Web of Science, Scopus, JSTOR, Google Scholar. And when I say that examiners or reviewers of journals are looking for what methodology did you follow, they are looking for your statement of the kind that I use Web of Science, Scopus, JSTOR, Google Scholar, or other sources, databases, and I use the following keywords. When I use the following keywords, then a large number of articles appear. Maybe combining research papers from all the sources. There will be some duplicates also, but maybe the number is very large, 50,000. Then you use some inclusion and exclusion criteria. You decide what your inclusion and exclusion criteria should be. They may be based on years of publication. They may be based on theoretical framework. They may be based on some key theoretical concepts, whatever. So So you may say, identify papers published in economics during last 10 years, or a discipline that I am looking for literature published in the discipline or in journals publishing articles in the discipline of sociology or management or other relevant or justifiable theoretical criteria. So keep on using exclusion criteria. Your number of articles will reduce from 50,000 to 20,000, from 20,000 to 1,000, and maybe finally you have a list of 50 articles which are available to you in PDF form through these online sources. These 50 articles become part of your review of literature. And you should write this methodology. This is how you arrived at these 50 articles. It's very, very important to say how these 50 articles on which review of literature is based were identified. So you must say this. These days, in all fields, in medical sciences, in sociology, economics, management, all good journals, all good papers are using this methodology. International databases and identifying articles from there. In this, I also mentioned other relevant sources. This other relevant sources, this is just take my slide as an illustration and apply your mind or acquire more knowledge on these things, on databases. This other relevant source may also include Shodh Ganga. Shodh Ganga is a database of PhD thesis submitted in different universities and institutions. And you can identify PhD thesis done in fields similar to yours through Shodh Ganga, and then approach the appropriate university or institution or the research scholar or the authors of the papers on the thesis published in Shodh Ganga, and that becomes part of your review of literature. So what I'm trying to say that review of literature follows a methodology. It's not a random process. And finally, you come to a manageable number of articles and books. Discuss how you arrived at these works. I said 50 last. Ultimately, you arrive at 50 articles. Read them thoroughly and develop your conceptual framework, identify gaps in research and everything, then methodology and statistical tools or qualitative methodology or qualitative package, whatever you want to do, just justify what you are doing on the basis of deep reading of these 50 articles, which you arrived at by following a definite methodology. So now you read them, and you may also use Zotero for content analysis. Friends, another issue on which our students have very little understanding is of how to present literature review. You may have read 500 articles, but how should those 500 articles be reviewed and discussed in your PhD thesis? That is a problem. Now, there are several strategies. One strategy may be that you adopt the strategy of timeline in the development of thoughts in a particular field. Or you may analyze the literature and discuss your understanding of literature. For example, I may say that if I am studying migration, I can say that migration has been studied in sociology, economics, psychology, and so on. This is what sociological theories of migration say. This is what economic theories of migration say. This is what psychological theories of migration say. And these are the holistic attempts combining sociological, economic, and psychological concepts in explaining migration. There may be some such holistic or synthetic theories also. So I can talk about them. And or there may be some other way of analyzing data, data on literature. But one technique which I have recommended to several students is that you can summarize your literature in the form of a table. It becomes easier for your readers to understand what you have done and why you have done. And it helps in systematically presenting your literature. Summarize literature in the form of a table with the following columns. So there is a table, and the first row consists of year, and then you cite the articles or books. In the second row will be the first citation. So name of first the year in which this article was published, then the author, who are the authors of this article, then title. In the third column you can mention title, then what method was used to arrive at findings in that paper, then area where the research was conducted, whether research was conducted in USA or Europe or in Latin America or Africa, or you can mention other things which are more relevant for you, in what socio-economic context, urban areas, rural areas, whatever is relevant for your research, you can mention that. And what are the major findings? You can include one in one of the columns. What are the major findings? 1, 2, 3, 4. That these 3 or 4 are the major findings of this study. And in the last column, you talk about the limitations of the study. This for the last 10 years or so, I have been insisting that my PhD students use this matrix form for presenting literature. This helps, and this helps in several ways. And your readers, your examiners, your reviewers become immediately clear which articles you have reviewed, what are the sources. Maybe in one of the columns you can also mention the journal or the book from where you have taken that article. So it becomes clear what are your articles, what are your research papers, and it also becomes more clear what are the sources, data sources, sources of your literature, and then the examiner or the reviewer can appreciate your research methodology, your methodology of reviewing literature properly. Literature, again, that literature must support your hypothesis and your line of thinking. Information on variables which does not pertain to your hypothesized relationship is not required. I will give you an example of this in the fourth and final slide. What is a bad review? Most students are doing bad review. In my PhD, I did a bad review. I worked on the problem of fertility, and my problem was the relationship between intentions expressed in one survey regarding family choices and actual behavior during the intervening period. So it was a longitudinal study. One survey was done in 1972 by Michigan University and IIT Kanpur, and after 7 or 8 years, I repeated that study in a subsample of their larger sample. Now, regarding review of literature, so my problem, actually this problem was given to me by my supervisor, because supervisor was involved in the earlier study. And he said that, Sarma, it would be interesting to go for a longitudinal study. The problem was given, and then everything was clear what I'm going to do. I'm using their questionnaire, maybe with 1 or 2 modifications, and I added some variables of my liking. I added some psychological variables. I added some variables on happiness, quality of life, and I conducted the resurvey. as far as literature is concerned, whatever literature was available in my central library and whatever books and articles were available with my supervisor, they became part of the review of literature. This is a bad review. I did not do justice to review part, and maybe I missed out many good papers, articles, and because of that, I could not develop a comprehensive or a right theoretical orientation to explain my findings. If I had read more, if I had identified literature from wider sources, if I had gone to, at least in those days, we did not have online databases. But if I had gone to other libraries, libraries of the institutes which are working in the area of fertility, if I had gone to say JNU had a good center of population research. If I had gone to Institute of Economic Growth, in the Institute of Economic Growth, there was a population center, and they also have good collection of books and papers there, and they used to get good journals. Or if I had gone to other IITs or IIMs, or if I had interacted with established demographers in the field, I would have a more comprehensive literature survey. I could have written this, that I identified my literature on the basis of these visits and meetings and discussions with demographers, and that would lead to a more comprehensive understanding of fertility in empirical and theoretical terms. I did not do that. It was a bad review, and I find that that tradition of bad review continues, and many of my own students have also done bad review, and in almost all the PhD theses which I received from universities and institutions, review part is very bad. Literature does not mean a collection of selected papers or books. This collection has to be justified. How did you arrive at these papers or books? Mere citation of literature on the problem without any analysis, without identifying gaps, or without producing hypothesis is a bad review. If you have not one indicator of that your review is bad or incomplete or not defensible, is that your analysis plan, your research problem, and your hypothesis have not been produced by review of literature. The review should not include unnecessary or irrelevant material. Looks ought to discuss history, demography, and geography of India if the aim is to study the relationship between personality and acceptance of telemedicine in India. The problem is whether there is a relationship between personality and acceptance of telemedicine in India. Now, personality has to be, there are so many dimensions of personality. You can talk about any or two or three dimensions of personality. And you can also measure acceptance of telemedicine in different ways. All of this has to come from literature. How did in the past psychologists measure personality? How did they identify the major dimensions of personality? And how did they measure them? Both will come from literature. And how do you conceptualize acceptance of telemedicine in India? But I find that when students write their PhD thesis on topics like this, they just in literature review, they just discuss anything and everything about India, because the term in India appears in the title, personality and acceptance of telemedicine in India. So they will write one chapter on India's history, one chapter on India's demography, one chapter on geography of India, and then come to methodology of the study and conceptual framework of findings or conclusions. Friends, if your literature or if your matrix of literature, about which I mentioned in the last slide, do not have a direct bearing upon your conceptual framework, theoretical framework, and your line of inquiry, your modeling, your statistical tools used, what kind of tools and techniques you are using. For example, there is a link between everything. If in your conceptual model there are a number of independent variables which are uncorrelated, and they are really independent, they have no relation, and all of them jointly affect a dependent variable, then you will go for multiple regression analysis. And how will you decide that independent variables are really independent and they are not correlated among themselves? On the basis of literature. If the review of literature suggests that some of these independent variables are correlated, then you need to go for some other technique. Then you will go for path analysis, or maybe in presence of multicollinearity, you go for factor analysis. But how do you say whether there is multicollinearity? This you say on the basis of literature. Now, if I'm discussing history, demography, and geography of India in study of personality and acceptance of telemedicine, then literature review is confined to one chapter or two chapters, and things which I am doing in other chapters have no connection with that. Just because there is a title, acceptance of telemedicine in India, so you start talking about India, that is a bad review. Review must directly relate with your conceptual model, theoretical gaps, justify each and every link and the direction of that relationship, recursive, non-recursive, symmetrical, asymmetrical, univariate, multivariate, bivariate, whatever. And let me also at the end say that you can use Zotero for collecting, organizing, and citing references. It becomes very easy. Once you have entered your references, papers you have read, complete references, authors, title of the paper, and name of the journal, volume, issue, pages, etc., etc. Then you can easily, when you write papers for different journals and they follow different schemes, formats for presenting references, it may be APA style, MLA style, Chicago style, or Harvard, or any other style. You do not have to rework. You can use Zotero for changing styles, or you can use Zotero for writing all the references in APA. So I will recommend to all the PhD students, today all the PhD students have access to computers and internet, to download Zotero, and this will help you in a big way in collecting, organizing, citing references. And another advantage of Zotero is that it also helps in in-text citation. Zotero has collected material from all online sources. So if I write a line that those who have internal locus of control, they do not accept telemedicine, or locus of control is positively or negatively, whatever the way we conceptualize it, whether internal is 1 or external is 1, the other becomes 0, kind of binary. So the moment I say that locus of control and telemedicine, acceptance of telemedicine are positively correlated, Zotero will immediately give me a number of references from different journals which have arrived at the same or negative finding. So it helps us a lot in writing our PhD thesis also. Friend, this is a short presentation. I said I will be making a series of short presentations. based on 4 slides, and this is 4 slides on review of literature. I'm sure that before watching this video, you may not have imagined that, oh my God, literature review में इतना करना पड़ता है. Literature review की भी methodology होती है. Yes, methodology data collection की तो होती है. Methodology review of literature की भी होती है. और all good journals, all good reviewers, all good examiners from good universities will expect that in your thesis you have also discussed the methodology of review of literature. How was literature identified? What did you learn from the literature? How do you classify literature? How do you analyze literature? How do you say that you have identified a gap? What is the meaning of gap? What is the kind of controversy in the academic field? If everybody, if in literature everybody is saying the same thing, suppose everybody is saying that there is a negative relationship between income and fertility, then this problem is not worth studying. I know that people keep on studying. In Indian universities, people keep on studying empowerment of women without bothering that this topic has been studied by thousands of researchers in the past, and without bothering about what kind of conclusions those researches led to. So, review of literature is not a haphazard or random activity. It must be done systematically, and this is the starting point. It is on the basis of review of literature only that you identify gap, you identify debatable problems, you identify what are the problems in which the community is interested. I keep on telling students, ऐसा मत सोचिए कि मैं एक ऐसी प्रॉब्लम पे काम कर रहा हूँ जिस पे आज तक किसी ने काम नहीं किया. हो सकता है वो प्रॉब्लम ऐसी हो कि उसमें कोई इंटरेस्ट लेने वाली बात ही नहीं है, तो इसमें आप क्यों कर रहे हैं पीएचडी. तो फ्रेंड्स, do your review of literature systematically, and if I get a thesis in which methodology of review of literature is explicitly discussed, I am also going to develop an impression right then that he or she is a good researcher, and the researcher must have selected statistical methods and methodologies and theoretical frameworks also carefully, that the researcher is a careful researcher, and that care therefore gets reflected in the way you choose literature for review of literature. Thank you very much. I stop here.